Information can be a boring collection of facts kept in a dusty folder, or a powerful decision-making tool when digitized and shared. Communication can be the dialogue between two persons, or the exchange of massive data sets between IT systems to make life easier for millions of people. And cooperation can simply be the work of a construction brigade, or the coordinated effort of entire countries to build a better future together. This is what public sector interoperability in Europe stands for. Seamless exchange of information, borderless communication, and smooth cooperation between digitized public administrations for the benefit of businesses and people across the Union. The ISA² programme of the European Commission has been working to introduce interoperability to the public sector by numerous initiatives, events, free solutions, actions and funding. Today, the ISA² programme is over, but the work of the European Commission and its partners in administrations across Europe to achieve interoperability continues at full speed. And the stakes are high. Improved interoperability could lead to a reduction in the time citizens spend every year with the administration by 25%. This results into time savings of 24 million hours and monetary savings in the order of 543 million euros per year. And businesses, they could save up to 568 billion euros annually. But it's not only about time and money. Now, more than ever, we have the right tools, knowledge, and expertise to shape a strong, interoperable public sector, built upon our European values and the common dream for a true digital Europe. A digital Europe that is inclusive, transparent, fair, and accountable. Our mission is to create a reinforced, interoperable policy that will work for everyone. And our ISA² programme is now Interoperable Europe, the initiative of the European Commission for a reinforced interoperability policy in Europe.
Hello, welcome back after lunch. I hope you have time to enjoy and also to check your emails probably. So, you have seen the Interoperable Europe video, which explains what is this initiative about, where it's coming from. And linked to it, there is Interoperability Academy. And we will have now Interoperability Academy Pitching Corner, which gives the possibility for 10 students to present their research ideas. And we will have now 10 students waiting for us online, and we have 2 academic teams, one here in Brussels, so Joep from KU Leuven, and George, my colleague from DIGIT. Hello, gentlemen. Very nice to see you here on stage. And we have also 2 professors from the University of Ljubljana, Dejan and Blaž. Dejan, Blaž, are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So the 2 teams will be commenting, providing suggestions, ideas for improvement, and each of the students will be pitching. But before we start, George, what Interoperability Academy is about?
So, Interoperability Academy, if I could have the slides so you can also see. So, here I will say just some words about the Interoperability Academy. This is something that was started on the ISA². I'm waiting for the slides. They are coming soon. So it's an initiative that came from the ISA² program, who was helping to support digital skills for the public sector. The idea was to promote a number of activities, so it's something we want to open to public servants, to academics, to people from the institution, but as well as students. And we offered a platform, an e-learning platform that is hosted on our corporate website. So here we have the slide, thanks. And you can go to the next already. So, and here is what we currently have on the Academy. So on the platform, as I was saying, we have now so far published 14 published courses. There are 9 who are on the pipeline. So it's course about what was done in ISA², but now on Interoperable Europe. We have so far more than 1,000 registered users, and we also hosted 5 live lectures and workshops. And we organized as well a winter school. It was the first event in 2019 where we had students professionals and also academics joining together to discuss about digital public administration. And there is also one study published. You will, at the end, we'll have a link where you can go, you can see all these things. Next slide, please. So here is just a glimpse. These are some of the course that has been published. Next, these are the course. Next slide, please. These are the courses that are, I was mentioning, the course to come. So here you can have a look when you will see the slides. Next. And here is more or less the roadmap. So as I was mentioning, we started with the event, the winter school. We have been working with the people who are developing solutions to create courses and also to work on a sort of curriculum, but it's not finished. We need input. So, and at the end, I say, you will ask as well if you can join the collection and give your feedback and to tell us ideas, of course, and we are looking for collaboration. And this is just the beginning of the journey, and today we are doing a new exercise to have the future professionals with us.
So, I think that's it for the very short pitching on the Interoperability Academy. And all of you, you are very welcome to join and participate, get courses, also raise your needs. What do you need? What kind of courses? Because for that, we also need your input. And don't hesitate to put your comments in the chat. The afternoon chat, again, should be live, and we will not check. Probably you know how to use it. But now we go to the pitching session. The rules will be very strict. 2 minutes for each student to pitch, and 3 minutes for comments and answers. So if you put your comments in the chat, please indicate to which student. You should be very quick because students will have just 2 minutes to pitch, and also 3 minutes for that we can, you know, ask them the questions and suggest some improvements. So I think we can start now.
Yes, we can start. I think if the students are there. I think the first
students are there, yes. So
the first student is Wout Slabbink.
So maybe there will be a sound. So when 3 seconds before the end, you will hear 3 beeps. So it means you have to finish.
Wout, we start. Your 2 minutes are starting. Please.
Okay. So don't you hate that you manually have? Don't you hate that you manually have to add your dataset to a data catalog? I want to make it my personal challenge to fully automate adding a dataset to the European data catalog. I propose to use a linked data event stream for such a metadata catalog, where there is no effort in adding a dataset to the catalog and it's easy to select datasets from that catalog. A linked data event stream is a collection of items, in this case data catalog application profiles, that will not be removed. One of the reasons to use linked data event streams for building a metadata catalog is that indexes can be created on top of such an event stream. It makes querying efficient, which in turn results in excellent discoverability of those datasets. I am developing solutions that whenever a dataset is being published, an announcement is sent to a linked data event stream inbox. For this, I developed a package, LDIS announcement, that is available in Node Package Manager. As an inbox, solids can be used as it allows for sending announcements with HTTP. Furthermore, I extended a solid server implementation with shape validation to guarantee that only valid application profile announcements will be stored in the linked data event stream. And finally, I'm developing a client where it is possible to curate this ever-growing linked data event stream of dataset announcements. In this client, users can select the datasets they are interested in. That way, users can themselves make linked data event streams of datasets. With this proposed solution, publishing a dataset is straightforward. Moreover, discovering and managing your favorite datasets will be simple when using this client.
Thank you, Wout. You really made it on time, even 15 seconds before. So thank you very much. I know that it's always very difficult to be the first one. Gentlemen, also Slovenian colleagues, please intervene. I see already a question.
I have a question, yes.
Go,
can I
please.
start?
Of course, of course.
Okay. Wout, very interesting approach. And I would like to know, has it also been implemented in practice? If not, why not? If yes, please tell us more about it.
Currently, this is not has not been implemented yet. That it be automatically that when you publish the dataset, it's sent to a certain inbox. Normally, there are different approaches where you have to fill in the different, a lot of administrative stuff, which makes it quite a hassle. My goal is that with publishing a linked data event stream, for example, which is a data set, that it can be automatically, when you publish that one, that an announcement will be sent, so that you, as a publisher yourself, do not have to worry where it comes. It just goes automatic to that catalog.
Very impressive. I'm very happy with your response.
Thank you, Wout. Yes, I see already Slovenian team. Please. Do you have?
If it becomes so easy to add a data set, how do you maintain the quality of the data sets? Does that become a problem?
Well, yes and no. It is true that when lots of data sets will be published, you will have a very huge collection. But that's where the second part of this solution comes in, which is the curation part, where there is a client that subscribes to that data catalog with all those published data sets, where you can select them wherever you need them. Furthermore, to add a little bit more constraints, you can have certain shapes added to your data set, so that you know already they have this kind of shape structure, so you kind of already know how to select the data sets, and then it's already a little bit more clear to which ones you want. So that's a small filter already in place.
Wout, I have 30 seconds for you to answer. Do you think manual metadata harvesting will be something of the past?
With this solution, I certainly hope so, that it will be of the past, but we'll see when it's in production that it is indeed the case, and I'll hope this get in production soon. Okay,
thank you very much. The time is over, I think. 5 seconds left. Okay, that's sorry. Thank you. Now the next one. Who is the next one?
Clevis Shemsky.
Clevis, we are launching the clock.
Okay, hello.
Hi, Clevis. Hi. So
hello.
We start. 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. So our research work is focused on integration together with semantic web and blockchain technology, because we want to manage and work on metadata, semantics, and knowledge in a secure and transparent way. So our focus is in the integration of these two technologies. More specifically, I am focused on working on including semantics in smart contracts, and we know that smart contracts are very important in blockchain. They are a piece of code that can be executed automatically when some terms and conditions are met. So my research focus on this PhD time will be that we will include some semantic reason or semantic description about smart contracts, because we know that smart contracts are very limited and they do not include any metadata in the meantime. So we are focusing in increasing this metadata to the smart contract description, and including also some semantic reason when some real-world data will come from the decentralized oracles from outside. And we are trying to write some smart contracts code that will collect different smart contracts that include data in the blockchain through the oracles.
I understand that you have finished. Yes. You're really performing super well. Everyone is doing 1 minute, 1 minute and a half. Okay, we will have more time for the questions. So thank you very much. Who has questions?
Yeah.
Slovenian team, Brussels team?
Maybe I give first the floor to Slovenian team if they have questions.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I have a question about a common drawback of blockchain and the semantic web technologies. I would say it's a poor performance. How is this problem tackled within on-chain community?
Yes. For example, we know that the blockchain has these scalability problems, and in our projects we are trying to find some solution that can help this blockchain issue to solve this, and we are trying to do this by including some knowledge graph that will create some graphs like graph chain and connect the data between that, and we can search over this knowledge graph and we can connect the data, or we can store some data on chain and store just the hashes of this data to the blockchain to be more secure and more transparent and not lose the blockchain key features.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer. George?
Yeah, I was wondering if you're familiar. You know that there is one of my colleagues who talk about our directorate where we work. That we're working on the European blockchain service infrastructure. That's what you develop could be work on this EBSI blockchain infrastructure. It's something that could work on any blockchain, solution that exists.
Yes. But mostly we are trying to work on Ethereum blockchain because it's the most widely used blockchain network. And we are trying to work with Solidity smart contract programming languages because it's more suitable and it's because it is stored on Swarm and it can translate it into bytecode that can help us maybe to make some semantic description or ontologist description with this language. But also, we are going also to study also other known blockchain networks like Hyperledger or Corda. But yeah, the most important, our focus is Ethereum.
I think we still have time for one more question, and I see Peter is very active on chat. Thank you, Peter, for this. Thank you for questions. And the question for you, Clevis, is can you give an example of a use case on the web that requires decentralized trust and semantic description for linked and smart contracts?
Mm-hmm. Yes, for example, sometimes we find ourselves in different situations in real world, and we have to provide or give some evidence that we really were there, and we have to give some evidence in this case. And blockchain gives this because if data is stored there, it will not be deleted anymore. But also this blockchain needs some information from outside of the world. For example, oracles. If an accident happened, who will provide that I wasn't the person that caused this accident? So I need some information from distributed oracles, like cameras, like the time that I was there and the time that happened, and things like that. That with the semantics together and blockchain as a feature that can secure this data, we can. This is one of the examples that we can use. We can use in, for example, in insurance, when when our tickets or flight is delayed, we can also get directly the cash back without interacting with the companies.
Clevis, thank you very much for the answers. Thank you for your input and your idea. And now we go to, who is the next
Davide Di Stasso.
Davide?
Thank you.
Bye, Clevis. Davide, are you here with us? Hi.
Here with you.
2
Hello.
minutes.
All right, so I'm here to present a master thesis project I did as part of the Pioneer program at KU Leuven at Delft, and I developed a digital collaborative game to facilitate learning about open data. And this is, I started from the assumption that, governments want to open more data, but the problem is decision-making about which data sets to open happens at different levels of government. And there are very complex outcomes as a result of opening or closing certain data sets. So with this kind of complex environment in mind, we saw there was a need for training tools, and one of the tools that's been used recently is serious games. And we did find a few examples of serious games about open data to train civil servants, but no really a remote option. Most of these games, you need to play them in person. So we wanted to create an option for remote or hybrid teams to play together. And my approach was to take an existing game, which is called Winning Data, and make the digital version. And so we found that by using certain game mechanics in these serious games, it was possible to stimulate discussion about what are the possible consequences or the possible benefits of opening certain data sets. And basically, this was a way for civil servants to kind of share among each other to some knowledge and kind of tell each other their experiences, anecdotes of what happens when you share a certain governmental data set. And we ended up with an online game for 4 players. And we do have also some pre-experimental data showing that civil servants' attitudes actually changed after playing the game, the attitudes towards open data, of course. Yeah.
Thank you, Davide. It sounds very interesting. I think I will tell to my children that there is a game, you know. This is so. Any comments? Any?
Yes, I have a
please.
question.
Yes, please.
After your research, Davide, have you played the game? If yes, please tell about your experiences. If not, why have you not played, Davide?
If I played my own game,
yes.
You mean? Yes, we did play it with dozens of civil servants, and I had quite positive feedback, and it was. I think it was very interesting for me to see how, even though this was a fictional environment in which they were working together, but they still took it pretty seriously when they were discussing whether or not to open certain data sets. So I think it was interesting to see. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see that. Yes, please, Blaž and Dejan, you have also. Please, the floor is yours.
Quick one. So, how do you evaluate the effect of such a game?
So we used pre-test, post-test experiment. So we would have a questionnaire before playing the game, and the same questions after playing the game. Questions relating to how participants feel about opening datasets, if they feel confident opening datasets, if they feel confident about the benefits, which are the benefits and risks. And we saw that there was some difference on some of these questionnaire items. It was Likert scale items mostly.
Could you use instead A/B testing?
We could, yes, you could definitely try different versions of the game, different game mechanics, and see which ones works best. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay, Dejan, I think you had also a question.
Yes, thank you. The game was developed for the purpose of learning about open data. How could your approach be extended to enable and facilitate open data, not only learning about it? For example, a gamified tool that enables publishing, extracting, consuming, or even evaluating open data. Yeah,
that's an interesting question. I want to work on during my PhD, and there's definitely, like you said, the game only covers a very limited aspect of open data, which is whether or not to kind of open certain datasets. But yeah, there's everything else, from the polishing or from the cleaning of datasets to how to format it and so on. And that's certainly something I'd like to work on in the future.
Thank you very much, Davide. I see a lot of questions coming, but unfortunately we don't have the time to respond to all of them. And I see that, yes, 5 seconds left. Thank you very much, and we see you probably in the future.
Thank you.
The next one.
Kasper Shooterman.
Yes, thank you.
You're already here. Hi, Kasper. So,
hello.
2 minutes are for you.
Thank you. Wouldn't it be great that your APIs are always in sync with the latest changes of an original linked data set? Last year, my colleague Dwight van Lanker pitched a publication of the Flemish address registry using linked data event streams at this event. This linked data event stream is an ever-growing collection of RDF objects that never change, containing the street names and addresses of Flanders. Text search over such big data sets would be cumbersome without proper indexes, because you would have to compare every data member for every query. That's why the goal of my master thesis is to automatically generate these indexes using a CI/CD system. Using GitHub Actions, we are creating an in-sync index on top of an existing linked data event stream to make specific queries fast. Our GitHub action, called LDES Actions, is built using modular components to be extendable and generate indexes for different use cases. Currently, we have developed a text autocompletion and a geospatial indexing component with more to come. An added benefit of using the GitHub Actions CI/CD platform is that you can generate these indexes for free over yours or someone else's linked data event stream. Furthermore, they will be hosted for free on GitHub pages and will be kept in sync with the source data due to the LDAS Actions periodic refetching. You can test this text auto-completion over Flemish street names using the auto-completion demo you can find on 3.linkeddatafragments.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Kasper. And now we go back to comments, questions.
Thank you, Kasper. I read your abstract, and your last phrase sounds, LDS actually facilitates the easy and cost-effective new generation of LDS replicas. Please explain how LDS Action is facilitating this new generation of LDS replicas.
Because using our LDS Action, you can generate different views on top of a source data set. And yeah, when using it as a GitHub action, it is hosted for free on GitHub pages. So it's cost efficient. And by generating different views on top of this source data set, you can generate your own linked data as well. You can, for example, in the future, take aggregates of data and combine them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kasper. I see also Peter again put a link to the GitHub action. So that's probably relevant for those for whom it's interesting. Now, Dejan and Blaž, do you have any questions or comments or suggestions? No, nothing. Okay. Brussels team?
I have a question. So
okay.
No, I don't have any questions, sorry. No.
Seems that it was very clear and no one has any more questions. So, Kasper, good luck. Good luck with your research. Continue, and we'll see what will be the outcome of it. And the next one, who is the next one?
Who's the next one? Oh, I'm very delighted to introduce you, Colin van Noord.
Okay. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
The familiar face, you know. Hi, Colin.
Yes.
Hi,
Good
Colin.
to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. So you have 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. So I am researching the use of artificial intelligence in government and trying to understand what are their requirements and what also maybe even more fundamental, what are the consequences and the effects of the use of these technologies. So we often discuss artificial intelligence even at related conferences and what they are supposed to do and what they can mean. But we know from previous research on digital government is that the impact of technology in government is sometimes very paradoxical and maybe even very difficult. A lot of administrations may find it very challenging to use AI technologies because of various reasons. Interoperability is a very good example. So maybe they cannot mix and match data together. So this research really tries to dive a bit deeper and try to see if the assumptions that we have on AI are actually true. Does it really make services better? And if so, what was really needed? So some of the existing research that I've already done really shows that it is challenging and it may be actually possible that AI gets developed, right? So we have a prototype, but then to really integrate it and change the organization with these new technologies to automate services over a longer period of time is very difficult. So we try to, at least I try to understand a bit better what are these factors, and then hopefully also to get a really bit of a better glimpse. Does it improve the service? Does it restrict people with a very broad view? So I do that a lot in collaboration with Data Watch of the European Commission to really get a bit of a better understanding what AI can do for governments, but to avoid that we only think it would automatically do a lot of good. It can definitely improve public services, but there are definitely some interesting conditions and things to keep in mind. So that's what I really try to address with my research.
Thank you, Colin. Just on time. Very interesting what you have presented. I was really listening to you with all my ears into it. Questions?
Maybe our colleague from
colleagues
Slovenia.
From Slovenia. Blaž and Dejan.
Can you summarize your results? Like, I mean, you're investigating the use of AI in. What are the results? Like 1 or 2 lines about them?
It's of course still work in progress, right? So what we've seen with the current use of AI is that there are very many different factors, not technological only. So there's a lot of organizational and even personal factors that really contribute to the use of AI in governments, and that they are often overlooked in many of the discourse and strategies. So think of funding or skills.
Maybe to be more concrete in the question, right? So if there's a organization that doesn't use AI, right? Like, I don't know, Slovenia, AI is not used in the government much, right? What should be the start? What should be the first application of AI there?
Ooh, that's a good question, and it depends. It's a very nice academic answer, but it really depends. You need to understand what are the needs of the administration. We cannot start with here's the technology and go for it. No, every administration first needs to understand what is the problem that we face. Do we really have an issue with translation or transcription? Do we spend a lot of time on this, for example? Okay, then they can look into technologies such as natural language processing to transcribe processes faster. If the organization has nothing to do with that, there's very little point in pursuing this automatically. Administrations have a limited budget, right? And they have to really pick the battles carefully. So the most important thing is to check what are the issues that they face and then look into solutions of which AI can help, but maybe it's not always the best path because you may need all this data to train these systems and you may not have that. So first you need to establish the whole data infrastructure first and then think about using AI 5 years later.
You know, I have a question. The topic is very interesting because it seems that first of all, you have to look at the user needs. User needs public administration as public administration, or let's say citizens. So are you working, you have mentioned that you're working with the European Commission, but are you working with any other public administration to test, see, to identify what are the, how do you do this? Apart from the Commission?
Yeah, a bit mixture. So Joep Crompvoets knows very well. We also work actually together on a project with the Belgian government, and we try to assess exactly similar kinds of needs. Although not necessarily on individual project needs, but also what are the administration's current how would you say, requirements for AI. So we also found out that many of the respondents working in the Belgian government said, well, we don't really have anybody with this expertise in our organization. So that would be a good starting point for governments to, okay, first check who knows about these technologies and who can also help once you deploy them to keep an eye on them, because you don't want them to cause problems after a while. You need to also mitigate risk after a while. So they need retraining and they need to be checked. So we saw that this was a big gap, and that would for sure be a first step for many administrations.
Thank you very much. The time is over, unfortunately, even though I'm sure we would have more questions. Thank you very much, Colin. The next one.
I am delighted to introduce you now, Georgina Righetzi.
Georgina. Do we have Georgina
yes.
online? Hi, Georgina.
Yes.
Hi. 2 minutes, please.
Hi. Thank you. So the first European Interoperability Framework was published in 2004 to assist member states in developing their own national interoperability frameworks, and was subsequently updated in 2010 and 2017. Yet despite the fact that this framework has now been around for 17 years, interoperability continues to remain a challenge today. Now, one of the EU's current priorities is a Europe fit for a digital age, which is the EU's digital strategy. And interoperability is interwoven throughout this document and included in a number of fields. As such, current challenges in improving interoperability represents a risk to the EU in meeting its goals under this strategy. In response, both the Berlin Declaration and Europe's data strategy calls for a strengthening of the framework. And in fact, an update is currently being done. But what my research argues is that to update this framework, it is important to fully understand its evolutionary path. That charting the historical path provides for better understanding of the framework's strengths and weaknesses, which adds to the discussion of potential areas for further development. As such, My research has two parts. The first part is a backward-looking part, looking at the evolutionary path. What I do is I use an analytical framework to conduct comparative analysis of the three versions of the framework, looking at the three core areas, including the context, which looks at the why, the content, which looks at the what, and the process, which looks at the why. The second part of my research is the forward-looking part and uses an environmental scan to determine what facets of the framework would benefit from an update. I'm looking in particular for underdeveloped areas as well as current interoperability challenges. For this environmental scan, I use four sources. The first is looking at the evolutionary path that I charted in the first part of my research, as well as interviews with experts, EU documents, and a literature review. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgina. And 3 minutes for questions.
Yeah, Georgina, you are now in Canada. I think it's very early morning for you, but good that you made it. Interesting and relevant research. You are now in Canada. What could Canada learn from you or benefit from your study, Georgina?
It could certainly look to actually working further on interoperability. I know Canada was there from the start and it produced this kind of white paper and started looking at it, but it kind of seemed to have dropped off. We do have other initiatives to try and save money, but interoperability really hasn't been a focus. And having come back to Canada and experienced the lack of interoperability, it's been really frustrating. So it would be great if they actually started looking at it and advancing it, because there's so many benefits to interoperability itself.
Thank you, Georgina. I see a very interesting comment from my colleague from Victoria. Now it's somewhere disappeared. That she would like, if you could put in the chat afterwards the reference to your research in order to reuse it in the future. George.
Yes, I mean, of course, we are in the unit who is dealing with the European Interoperability Framework. So, I mean, it's not really a question. It's just to mention that we have also been in contact with Canada. We are starting, some dialogue. So it's good that maybe it's interesting for you. And as well, you're coming at the right time because it has been announced in the video as well, we are reviewing our interoperability policy. It means that we're not change right now the European Interoperability Framework, but there will be certainly an evolution of it. So you're welcome to follow us as well, and to contact us as well for the further developments, and to follow and also contribute possibly, because it's not that we are looking for contribution, and your perspective, your work is very relevant and very interesting.
Okay, thank you, George. Slovenian Ljubljana team, Blaž and Dejan. Any questions, please?
Yes, I have a question. What is your opinion on centralized versus decentralized approach in achieving interoperability? For example, African countries are jumping on a ship towards decentralized approach to interoperability. For example, Ethiopia in Cardano blockchain project Totala Prism with DIDs and verifiable credentials, while developed countries mainly stick with centralized approach, for example, EU. What's your view on that?
I suspect a decentralized approach would probably be easier to overcome some of the challenges. Certainly from what I've been reading, culture is an issue. And when you have a centralized approach, you have many more cultural approaches to a particular area, which makes interoperability certainly a lot more difficult. So if you decentralize, I suspect that it would just be easier to implement because the thinking would possibly be a lot more similar.
Thank you very much, Georgina. Thank you. It was really interesting, and we see how our policy development will be, and probably you can link also to that your research. Do we have still time for the questions? No, we don't have time for the questions. We move forward.
Yeah, it's my joy now to introduce you, Pavel Nesterov. I'm sorry, Pavel, that I pronounced your name incorrectly.
Hello, Pavel.
Hi, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, and you have 2 minutes.
Thanks. Yeah, my name is Pavel. I'm from Slovenia, and I'm working on extracting nutritional data from the grocery store receipts. To understand the problem, let me tell you the story. This research started as a personal project right after I visited my doctor, and that doctor was very surprised with my blood test because there was a very high cholesterol. She advised to she advised me to take a look on what I eat and what I drink, basically. And first I started to record everything manually, what I ate and what I drink, then taking pictures of that. But after that, after I missed several meals, I realized that there must be a better way. So this is how this project and this master thesis has started. So I'm developing the app which takes a photo of the grocery store receipt or the receipt from the restaurant. Then a neural network removes from this receipt everything except the product names and the quantities. And then another neural network tries to match the product names from this receipt with the nutritional database. And after that, the simple multiplication produces the results that, let's say, in these receipts, you have 2,000 kilocalories, you have 200 grams of fat, and let's say 190 grams of the saturated fat, which are obviously bad for your blood and for your heart. So that was like about one single receipt, but imagine having multiple receipts from the same person over time. So this kind of the time series data can help to understand whether the eating habits of this particular person or family of this person is changing, like getting healthier or getting less healthy. And this is not only the person itself who can benefit that. This data, of course, with the permission of the person, can be used by medical institutions in order to get kind of the holistic picture of the person, to augment the data.
Thank you very much, Pavel. Very interesting. I already can imagine myself going in the shopping mall and scanning, especially I would do with my kids, and we would go through the sweet section. 3 minutes for the questions and answers.
I have a question, but maybe our colleagues from Slovenia, maybe you first this time.
Say it again, please.
Blaž Zupan? Blaž Dejan. I'm sorry, Blaž. I'm always mixing your first name with the family name. Blaž and Dejan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so based on this data, can you build a recommendation system? So the next time to the shop, what to eat, what to buy and what not?
Exactly. That's one of the ideas how to gamify this application. Basically, knowing the schedule, when the person usually scan the receipts, like before, let's say 1 or 2 hours before the person goes to the shop, we can say, okay, now try to replace this pork which you are going to buy with the chicken or with the turkey. And this is kind of to give the rewards, and this how this can nudge the person towards the more healthy behavior.
Thank you very much.
Please. As Asta said, as you said, very interesting. Has your tool be applied in practice? If yes, what is your experience? If not, why not?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I heard you. If you're asking if that was applied in practice, right?
Yes, have this tool been applied in practice?
No, I think I have issues with the connection.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the question is, have you applied this in practice? This is your application.
Yes, it's already working. So now it's open for limited amount of users, and we are actively collecting their receipts already. They are all these receipts are actually from Slovenia, and the language models which we have, they're built in Slovenian language, but these models can be taken into German language, into Italian, Hungarian, and basically most of the European languages.
Okay, so it can be extended. Dejan, you had a question.
Yes, we focus on assessing nutritional value of the individual purchase of food.
Right.
However, this could be misleading, and it might be more beneficial to focus maybe on food preparation process rather than purchasing. So the question is this feasible, and what's your view on that?
The big idea of this project is to help people to eat healthier. So the assumption here is that we can rely on the food producers' data, which they provide, that this data is correct, this data is right, and use that data in order to provide the the insights about how healthy this food is. So approach is quite simple that, yeah, basically saturated fats are bad and, unsaturated fats are good. So whether this data is correct or not, that's out of scope of this research, how the products were built. And that's completely like new world for this. So our base idea is to basically help people to tell them whether they eat healthy or not.
Thank you, Pavel. It's very interesting. Probably you will continue on your research, and I hope one day we will also be able to use it. Who is next one?
I would like to give the floor, thank you, Pavel. I would like to give the word now to Lieven Raas.
Hi, Lieven. Do you hear me?
Good afternoon. So imagine having an overall view of the city, and imagine also that you can test the effects of new developments in the city or new measures you want to take. And there is where my subject of urban digital twins come in. Urban digital twins can be seen as a digital replica of a city or a region or locality. And in fact, it's a successor of 3 already existing movements started in the 80s and 90s. The first one is in the industry, where digital twin concepts are used in the make industry, for example, to test on the ground the effects of, for example, an airplane, building an airplane on the field. In the architectural and engineering and construction field, also in the 90s, 3D models are used and implemented to draw architectural plans, but later also extended to the building and its surroundings. And the third movement is more on a government level, where GIS and spatial data infrastructures were built and developed by many government institutions and private sector since the beginning of the century, to bring data together and so on. So yeah, an urban digital twin is also part of the smart city movement. And in my PhD, I want to combine the results of 3 Horizon 2020 projects I was and I am currently coordinating. The Polyvisu project about policy visualization. So how can you visualize policies in an effective way using big data. The Duet project about digital urban twins, and where we want to implement interoperable digital twins in Flanders, in Athens, and so on.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Lieven, the time is over. Yeah. Thank you. I think the idea is interesting. Urban digital twins, very relevant. Questions? We start with the Slovenian team, Ljubljana. Yes, I see already. Please.
Yes, could you maybe highlight a promising example of a digital city twin where citizens benefit the quality of life on several aspects like traffic, well-being, healthcare, etc. And another sub-question, are settings like this mainly located in Europe, America, or maybe Asia?
Yeah, okay. Well, a good example is what we're currently doing in the city of Pilsen, Czech Republic, where we have implemented a traffic model and combined that with an air quality model and noise model. So what we actually can do already with the digital twin is to, for example, block a road, recalculate the traffic model and see immediately the effects on air quality and noise distribution in the city. So this is just one example, because yeah, these are based on European research projects. The examples are mostly in the European Union, but digital twins are also implemented, in fact, on many places in North America and Asia and so on. But I think what's special about the European way of doing it is bringing the results to the citizens, and also to have a focus on model interaction. So just what I explained, not only about 3D building models, but also about predicting the effects of what I just explained in Pilsen.
Thank you very much. I see some questions in the chat. I would also like to mention, yes, I see you, Blaž. For those who are asking the questions in the chat, please indicate to whom the question is. Now, Blaž, the floor is yours, and after that, I will take the question from the chat from Peter.
So let's say how easy it's to take the digital twin from Pilsen and just move it to some other city. Is that can this be done sort of almost automatically, or it requires a lot of labor?
Yeah, of course, not automatically. So what we are realizing in the project is an interoperable framework for setting up digital twins. And we want to integrate their, let's say, European-wide available data. But next to that, you also have more specialized models and specialized local data sets. It's all depending on, let's say, the results you want to achieve. For some simulations, you can rely on, let's say, not very detailed data, but from the moment you dive in deeper into the city, then you need specific city data and, of course, interoperable data.
Thank you, Lieven. I'm sorry, I cannot ask those two questions from the chat, how Lieven is going to evaluate the effectiveness and what are the main sources of data for your project, but maybe, Lieven, you can put the comments in the chat if you could. Now, who...
Yes, I would like to say it was a pity that you had to enforce Lieven, but
yes.
okay, that's how it is. And
yes,
please go to a project called Compare. I think that's a new project, and all go to that. So the next one is Brecht van de Vijveren.
Brecht, are you here? Yes, you're here. So please start, 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. So imagine an environmental agency is creating an inventory of trees on the public domain. To share this list with the outside world, they can use the linked data event stream specification to share this. Next to that, we have the NGSI context broker that allows the management of these trees, which means you can create, read, update, and delete the state of trees. For example, you can update the width of the tree. I'm working on a set of tools to bring these two worlds together. A first tool is to import an existing linked data event stream into an NGSI context broker. This way, if a tree inventory is published with linked data event streams, it can be consumed by another organization that is using a context broker, like in a city. We do this by using the linked data event stream client, which allows to harvest the data. And I'm also working on the compatibility between traditional linked data models and NGSI information models. The second tool we're creating is to generate a linked data event stream back from an NGSI broker. A context broker can suffer scalability issues when used in an open data environment with many clients. We're investigating how the temporal API endpoints can be used to generate a linked data event stream on top of an NGSI broker. With these tools, I hope that we can bring linked data event streams and NGSI brokers together, that they can become compatible, so that the data can flow in a decentralized European data space. Thank you.
Thank you, Brecht. You finished before 2 minutes. Questions, Ljubljana team.
Yes, I have a question. How does your work correlate to decentralized identifiers and verifiable credentials that are a W3C proposed recommendations? So the idea is very similar, with giving the data owners more power in controlling their own data.
Yes, it's of course a different aspect here. It's about data publishing, about sharing your data in a cost-efficient way. With the verifiable credentials, you add a layer of trust, I think, to their data, that you can trust that the data is coming from a certain organization. So I think if the data is flowing from a linked data event stream to a context broker, it's important that you know to trust where your data is coming from. So maybe the DID can be used there also as an extra layer added to it.
Okay, thank you.
For the answer. Any more questions? Or,
I have a question, yes. You talked about two interfaces, context broker and linked data event stream. And then you said the question remains...
I cannot hear you anymore.
Okay, it seems that there are problems with my... Okay, but...
you use mine, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So there are two data spaces. You deal with context broker as well as with linked data event stream. Great, wonderful. Yes. Question remains how these interfaces can work together. And I think, therefore, my question is it not more an organizational interoperability issue? Thank you.
I'm seeing it from a technical point of view. AGSI offers a lot of features, extra features like filtering, subscriptions, managing the entities. While with the event stream approach, it's more simplified usage. It focuses on replication and synchronization of data, which is more to the exposing your data in a scalable way to the outside world. While with brokers, you have more complexity to it. So if an organization like the environmental organization wants to share some data, with event streams, it doesn't have to support a whole set of features to just share their data. So they both have their merits, but yeah, the importance here is that the data can flow.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the answer. George?
No, but I think we don't have time. It's 10 seconds.
We don't have time,
yeah,
yes.
sorry.
I see there are questions. So, Brecht, can you pick up your the questions which are addressed to you and also try to respond them in the chat? I think that would be very nice and our audience would appreciate. The last but not least.
Jade Rijkens. Jade Rijkens, are you here?
Yeah, no. Do we have? Yes.
Hello?
Hello. Hi. Do you hear me?
Yes, I think I'm having some connection problems.
We can hear you, but we cannot see you. Yes, we can see you also now. So, Jade, 2 minutes for you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Jade Rijkens, and I'm currently studying into Pioneer in Public Sector Innovation and E-Governance. However, I will tell you more about the research I did in my previous master's degree in Public Management and Policy. My research looked into how the enablers of COVID-5 model were applied in the digital transformation of the Flemish government, starting with the program Flemish Radical Digital, which was launched in 2014. The results show that Flemish Radical Digital is seen as a starting point of the digital transformation in the government, and also most of the enablers show a positive evolution after the implementation. But the respondents mentioned that further improvements, and especially a long-term vision, are necessary to achieve a successful transformation. However, there were also some barriers that came forward in most of the enablers. The experts felt that compromise in policymaking and complex regulations in Flanders hindered the digital transformation. Additionally, there was more demand for cooperation between different entities and also interoperability with the regions, the federal government, the local governments, private companies, but also other countries. Currently, they are undertaking new steps in the second edition of Flemish Radical Digital, which was launched in 2019, and also in the recovery plan as a result of the COVID-19 crisis to tackle these shortcomings. So it's interesting to see how the digital transformation will evolve.
Thank you very much. I think we didn't have your video, but we could hear it perfectly. Questions?
Okay, great.
We start with the Ljubljana team, Blaž and Dejan. No questions from your side? Okay, no questions. George?
No.
No questions.
I have to think of it.
Yeah, I have a question, but I don't know if Jade can hear me.
Do you hear me?
Can you hear me, Jade?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
So you said at the end of your abstract, there was more demand for cooperation between different entities and intergovernmental cooperation. So therefore, organizational interoperability is not a key for success regarding the digital transformation in the Flemish government. So should we invest more in organizational interoperability? Jade?
Yes, I think so, definitely. Now they say the entities, but also the regions are on a very different level. So it's very difficult to cooperate if you're not on the same technical level, if you don't have the same expertise. So that's definitely something that needs work if we want to make interoperability possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jere.
Another question.
Yes.
I mean, you focus your research on the Belgium situation, which is very good use case because it's I would say it has a complex governance. Do you see as well other ways to enlarge this to a EU level, a coordination at EU level, or applying to other countries, because every country has its own institutional setting. So.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I think that the organizational factors have a huge influence. So if interoperability will be, if we want to invest in interoperability, it's good to look into those factors as well, to see how they influence it and to see how they can cooperate in a very good way. It's also good to see which are the best practices. So I think governments can definitely learn from each other.
Thank you, Jere. Thank you very much. That's it for the pitching session. Thank you all. It was very interesting. Thank you, Slovenian team. And now, just one conclusion per each. Very short.
Okay.
Joep, we start with you.
Thank you. For me, it was I really enjoyed the session very much. I really, all the respect to the students and to our dear colleagues that they really kept the time. And for me, it is also very inspiring that so many people are doing research about the topic about interoperability. And I also wrote for myself, the future of interoperability in Europe is bright.
That's good, huh? That's good. I like this conclusion. George.
Yeah, so I mean, I would like to say that it was also very encouraging and to see this young generation, because we are, fully working on redesigning interoperability policy. As it was mentioned, we have this also big, I would say, pile of money that has been done through the recovery fund. So it's several tens of billions of euros that will be asked and used for digitalization, digital transformation of public administration. So there is also the opportunity. This is something that is happening now. So it's true, it's the moment when we need ideas, when we need your input. So I encourage to continue. The people are publishing also the links. So I encourage you to go to the link. So you have the links to join up, where the abstracts will be published as well, where you can join and you can also comment. So this is something that I would like you to go and also continue the discussion. There were many discussions on the chat, so I encourage you to do that. And as well, you have the direct link to go to the course. There was a question that you just use EU login to register. So there is no authorization, there is no accreditation. You just create, or if you have a EU login, and you are ready to use the platform.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brussels team. And now I'm back to Ljubljana team, Blaž and Dejan.
Thank you very much. So congratulations to all the students. The presentations were very clear and crisp. And as an engineer, I specifically like those that were more on a concrete side. So I like to hear about the particular results, and especially I like to hear if somebody actually tells what is the low-hanging fruit. So the changes that we can do in a shortest possible time that make biggest gains. Thank you.
I also enjoyed participating in this event, and I would also like to congratulate all the participants for especially effectively presenting your work, and wish all the best in your future endeavors. And I believe that the feedback you received will also benefit your ongoing research. And of course, I hope to hear again about your future success. Thank you.
I thank you very much, all teams. Thank you very much for the students. I know it's not easy. It's 2 minutes to present the main idea of your research. It's very, very difficult. We will continue. The story will continue about Interoperability Academy, about pitching, about winter or summer schools. We will see. Please join and follow us. And also share what are your needs for the trainings.